All right, y'all. I got something I want to share. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. This is about the keys to avoid accidents. I feel like 99.9% of accidents can be avoided. There is that 1% where certain little things is going to happen. But here's the thing. I let everybody know. Driving can be a distraction, but the key is to limit those distractions as much as possible. And here's how. Here's the thing. A lot of people say you have to be an aggressive driver, right? And then you have to be a defensive driver. Maybe in certain states and cities, you may have to do that. But even then, I feel like you're taking on people's negative energy. So the key is to be a patient driver. And that doesn't mean driving slow or driving under the speed limit. What that typically means is being patient. We got to learn how to be a patient driver. Here's the thing. I drive more than the average person, so I see a whole lot more. So here's the number one cause of accidents, in my opinion. People already have anxiety, right? They want to drive faster than the speed limit, faster than the traffic, and they're also distracted at the same time they're doing it. So every time you see an accident, just know one of those things happened or all four of those things played a role. Here's the thing. The key is to be a patient driver. Now, being a patient driver doesn't necessarily mean driving slow or driving under the speed limit. What it means is being precautious, watching your surroundings, checking your rear view mirror, checking your side mirrors. You see what I'm saying? Checking your blind spots. You see what I'm saying? And another key is to think ahead and to think for people. Remember that. Think ahead and to think for people. You have to be the eyes and the brain for other people out here. Because just because somebody's behind a wheel and they're driving a car doesn't mean that they know exactly what they're doing or they know how to drive. It may not be their car. They may not have insurance. They may have the bare minimum insurance. You see what I'm saying? You never know. So don't assume just because somebody out here driving that they know how to drive. Here's the thing. I look at driving like artwork. You know what I'm saying? Like art. I pay attention to detail. So on a crosswalk when it says the countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I already know eventually it's going to turn yellow. I already know that. So the key is to actually try your best to stop. There's going to be certain situations you're already going past and it changes out of nowhere. But if you have about 5 to 7 seconds back, you're already be like, you know what? I'm just going to slow down. Because depending on where you live, when a person is making a left turn, whether it's a left yield or whatever the case may be, they're going to end up taking that risk anyway. There you go. There's an accident possibly going to happen. That's why you got to be precautious. Make sure you're using your eyes. See, me, if it's busy traffic on the road, I can see as far ahead as about 5 to 7 cars ahead. I can see as far back about 5 to 7 cars back. So if I see a person back there switching in and out of lanes trying to get up here, instead of me getting upset, if a person is riding my bumper, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the other lane and let them go. I'm just going to go ahead and let them go because I'm not in no rush. See, my anxiety level and in life and on the road is at a 10%. But I had to work on that through trial and error. That's how I was able to get it that low. You see what I'm saying? So that's the key right there. You see? So the key is to limit those distractions as much as possible. You see what I'm saying? Look, but don't be staring. If you see an accident, just look real quick. If it has nothing to do with you, don't stare. If you want to check it out, then go ahead and pull over. You know what I'm saying? Here's another thing too. Let's say if you're a passenger in a car, right? You're a passenger in a car, whether you're in a passenger seat or the back seat. If you see the driver is texting and driving, talking on their phones with, you know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid. I don't care if it's your significant other, your friend, your family member, whoever. Let that person know. Get off your phone because my life is valuable, just like everybody's life is valuable out here. You see what I'm saying? See, this is the thing about me. Before I get out here on the road, because I drive for a living, so I'm out here from 8 to 15 hours at a time. So before I come out here, I got to prepare myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially before I come out here. If one of those things are off balance, I would either stop early or I'll completely take the rest of the day off. Me personally, I don't care if I miss out on money. You want to know why? because I don't want to put myself, my passengers, or anybody else on the road in danger just because something is off on my end. That's how serious I take driving for a living. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to be like that. You either going to pull over, you're going to take a deep breath. You know what I'm saying? Or you're going to get off the road. That's how I do. Because I don't own the road. I'm out here on the road. I'm trying to get off the road when I'm ready to get off the road. You see what I'm saying? Most of these drivers, they don't really take away my energy like that. But out of nowhere, there will be, like, let's say, for instance, I'm cruising. I'm in my own little zone. But I'm still focused, but I'm in my own zone. If you take me out of my zone, that's going to bother me. So if it's almost like you're about to hit me, that's taking me out of my zone. You see what I'm saying? I want to try to be as smooth. There's going to be certain little situations, but you got to be able to avoid these accidents out here. You got to try your best to. I tell people, I'd rather avoid an accident through somebody else possibly about to cause it than me possibly about to cause it. I want to avoid an accident. So even if, let's say you have the right of way. If you have the right of way, I'm going to let you go. Like if I had a right of way, I said that backwards. If I have the right of way, I'm going to let you go if you're in a rush. You want to know why? Because clearly you're in a rush. You see what I'm saying? Here's another thing that people don't realize. If you're on your phone and you're distracted and you have the right of way, you're just as wrong as the next person that just hit you. Because why? You could have avoided that accident by how? Limiting your distractions and thinking ahead and thinking for that person. You see what I'm saying? All this stuff plays a role. I look at driving like artwork. I pay attention to detail, so I'm on it. My eyes are like on it. I tell people, instead of having 2 eyes, you got to have 8 eyes. You see what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean having anxiety and looking all around. No, but just making sure you're looking, checking those blind spots. And you ain't got to do it in such an anxiety way, but you have to work on it. See, here's the key. A lot of people say, oh, you know, in California, there's a lot of terrible drivers. In Vegas, in Missouri, in Arizona, in Chicago. Yes, this may be true. But see, what people don't realize is I'm a great driver. I can say that with confidence. But when you know you're a great driver, it's not you got to worry about. It's the other people. So another key is to learn from your driving mistakes. You have to be aware that you're making mistakes as a driver. Just like you do in life in general, you make mistakes and you learn from it. You have to be aware that you're making mistakes. You know, in a driver's handbook, when it says driving is a privilege, the problem is people take driving for granted. Either they don't realize it or they don't care. One of the two. They don't realize it or they don't care. You have to be aware that you're making mistakes. You got to be aware that you just don't care. You have to. Because if you don't, you know how other people say things like, oh, I live my life on the edge, or I live that fast lane life. Well, eventually it's going to catch up to you. It may be years from now. You cannot be doing that. You cannot. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about what's important to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it goes. But I just wanted to give y'all the key or the keys of avoiding a lot of accidents, because they could be avoided out here. A lot of them, 99.9%, if you do the keys that I mentioned. As I said, there's that 1% where certain things are going to happen. And sometimes that may be out of your control. But if you think ahead and you think for people and you're patient, I promise you it will avoid a lot of accidents. Remember, because there's people in this world, they've gone like 30, 40 years and they're like 80 years old and they have not ever got into an accident. But you got to remember one thing. I guarantee you they've had to avoid a lot of accidents. You're going to have to avoid accidents out here. It's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? It's the name of the game. But wouldn't you rather avoid an accident through somebody else than it possibly being your fault? These things that I explain to people, they're like, man, I wish you were my driving instructor. I can definitely be a great driving instructor, because the driver handbook or your driver instructor, they're not going to teach you stuff like this. Driving is about experience anyway. You got to go out here and get your own experience in anyway. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to teach you how to avoid accidents like that. They're going to let you know step by step on what to do, but you still got to get your own experience out here. They're not going to teach you if you have the right of way, go ahead and let that driver go. These are things that you're going to have to learn through experience and through trial and error till you get it right. You see what I'm saying? So when I look at driving like artwork, like, you know how when you're in between the lanes, you know how people be swerving into the other lane or on the line? I don't like to do that. That's just me. I'm not a perfectionist, but I like to make sure that I'm out here and I'm driving smooth. Now, every once in a blue moon, I'll make a driving mistake. But see, I'm aware of it. So I'll call myself out on it. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what you got to do. You got to call yourself out of it. You got to be aware. You got to know what you're doing. But I just want to share that with y'all. You know, comment, share, and subscribe. You know, my name is Unique Mind. You know, there's going to be more videos to come. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Stay positive. Gone.